This is Tiger Cats postgame on the Ticats Audio Network.
Everyone sigh. And it's a sigh of relief this time after a couple of games. I'm going to say especially the ones here at home where it's been a sigh of despair. It was a sigh of relief. Finally, the Tiger Cats get that monkey off the back, as the saying goes. Hamilton 25, Ottawa 23. But Andy, I have no nails left.
Oh my goodness, I'm sweating still. I'll tell you what, we're gonna have some fun this post game show for once. Oh my goodness, what a nail biter down to the end, and a decision that I'm sure will be questioned. I didn't know what was going on. Luke said he ended up agreeing with it. I'm not sure I agree. He's got to talk to Coach O later this week. So anyway, regardless, we got a W. So. Great team win. Like you said, we kind of put all phases together when it really mattered, and we're able to stop the Redblacks at the end of the game. But more importantly, we're able to get that clutch game-winning touchdown near the end.
On tonight's menu here for the post-game show, Car Star keys to victory we will review. Courtesy of Access Storage, we will interview the coach and a player to be named, and we think we know. We've got someone all lined up. And, of course, the performer of the game is presented by Hercules Tire, Ride Our Strength. And, of course, right after we get through those things, it's roundtable time. Rob Hitchcock rejoins us, and Mike Daly is along with us to break this one down. So, first of all, let's get to our performer of the game as presented by Hercules Tire, Ride Our Strength.
Well, he made me sweat a little bit when he got another fumble in a costly area and backed up on your own goal line. But Dane Evans is still going to be my guy because he was able to respawn, come in there for the game-winning drive, make some clutch throws, including the touchdown to go ahead and ultimately be the game winner. So Dane Evans, 21 for 28, 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Did have that one critical fumble that's been his sort of Achilles heel all season, but was able to respond and get the job done.
And I'm going to throw this in, too, because and something we can talk about on the roundtable, his ability to respond there. I'm not saying he's lost his job, but he was pulled from the game in favor of Matthew Schultz on the ensuing drive series after he fumbled the football. And when they needed him the most, he came through with that drive and touchdown pass.
Yeah, he certainly was. Matthew Schultz got some packages all throughout the game, but he led the drive right after that fumble, like you said. And so it's clear that this is unacceptable behavior that's what the coaches are saying by that move. And but you said it, that he came back in, drove down. Like I thought today, his poise in the pocket, his we talked about the sense of urgency. It just seemed like he had a little bit of pep, a little extra, a few steps, almost like quick Peyton Manning type feet. He was slinging it all over the field. He had players all across the field, and I thought offensively this was by far the most impressive game for the Cats.
You take a look at something to think about here, kind of new faces, new results. The wide receiver, Anthony Johnson, had a big reception. Unfortunately, he fumbled the football, but then came right back, ended up with a touchdown reception. Seth Small did his job in terms of kicking field goals. Matt Schultz, you talked about him, some packages that they brought him in for, and he took care of the football, did throw one interception late. And then Felix Garland-Gauthier comes up with a big reception down the left sideline in the second quarter when the Tiger Cats put up 17 points. So some newer names that actually stepped up and really helped to lead this victory. I also thought Julian Hauser played a great game, 4 tackles, 2 sacks. Lawrence Woods, talk about a difference maker. 3 kickoff returns for 77 yards, returns a missed field goal 35, 8 punt returns for 167 for a total of 279 of total yardage. That is making a difference.
Yeah, that was a funny one. He had an outstanding return, dodging a few tackles early, gets out in the open, breaks it open, and about the 20-yard line just puts it on cruise control. A lesson I'm sure he will never make that mistake again. He'll learn that lesson from this. Puts it on cruise control and then feels his body coming up behind him, and then tries to accelerate and kind of pops a wheel and stumbles. It was very similar to that. Anybody watch the Giants? That Daniel Jones run from a couple seasons ago. But yeah, still making plays, getting great field position for the Cats offense all game long. And I should kind of side note what I said earlier about the most effective offensive production, other than the fumbles. There was the one interception on the goal line that really was third down anyways, so it didn't really make a difference. But the fumbles is a problem. But other than that, offensively, I was really liking what I saw.
Well, you talk about fumbles and turnovers. So let's review your Car Star 3 keys to the game.
Well, number one was urgency, and I would give that a yes. I mean, they started off a little slow because of those two early fumbles in the first quarter, but they were moving the ball well all first half. They had 256 passing yards after halftime. They ended up with 417 total yards offense. So the defense was excited, was having fun, was getting some sacks. So overall, I'm going to give that a yes.
Number two
was pressure defense, and so I guess the kind of mention it, but the 3 sacks for the defense, 2 interceptions, not really giving that running back anywhere to go. They took some chances. They got beat by a couple double moves early, but we talked about that. That's okay. Let's try to take some chances to go for interceptions, go for big hits, be aggressive, and if you get beat, you get beat. It's okay. It's time to make something happen and be a difference maker. So I was okay with those giving up those double moves, and overall, I thought the defense played very well.
Number 3 is very interesting.
Yeah, number 3, 5-2 on the wrong side of the turnover battle. Two turnovers on downs. On the goal line in the score zone, and 1 interception on the goal line in the score zone, and then one turnover on down in the goal line, and then the interception, and then the fumble backed up on your own goal line, and then the other 2 fumbles early in the first quarter. So 3 fumbles, an interception, a turnover on downs equals 5 turnovers, and that's not going to win you a lot of football games. So you gotta write that column.
As they say, they got to clean that up. Well, we have a chance here, obviously waiting here for Coach O to join us here, as presented by Access Storage, and of course we get down to the locker room as well too. Let's bring in our post-game roundtable. Mike Daly joins us along with Rob Hitchcock. Guys, maybe not the way Coach O would have scripted up for win number 1, but Mike, I think he'll take it.
Yeah, especially with what has been going on this entire season, to squeeze one out that way and, really be able to win in that sort of fashion, the way they've lost a lot of these games. There is a lot to work on, but the nice thing is that they were able to squeeze one of these out and, finally get in that win column and kind of get a little bit more of a sigh to go into this next week, right?
I like what you said, like kind of squeeze. It's nice that they won like that.
Right.
It wasn't just an easy win, because they've been on the wrong side of that so many times, of those close nail biters that went the wrong way. And so this has got to, almost subconsciously give them some kind of relief or different mindset, I guess, into the future of the season.
Right, and that's the biggest thing, right? Because once those games don't go your way and you're losing those tight ones, every single decision is looked at so critically. And they will be in this situation, but when you win, maybe not with such a big microscope, right?
You always like the expression, as a receiver, justify it with a completion. Now,
Right.
maybe you run the wrong route. The quarterback doesn't do the right read, throws a wild pass. Well, you can, you justify it by a completion, and you just move forward. So justify it with a win, and it won't be scrutinized so much.
You're here at the Tiger Cats post-game roundtable. Bubba O'Neil along with Mike Daly, Rob Hitchcock, Andy Fantuz. Rob, I saw you. You were very near to our broadcast location. You, too, with a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, I was totally thinking of a completely different conversation with you 3 guys with a minute and a half left. I was going to be critiquing in the defense and the offense, but you know what? A win's a win. You got to hand it to them. They've been losing, as Andy said, they've been losing those games in the last couple of minutes in the fourth quarters. It's been their nemesis this year, and they ended up pulling one, and they found a way to win today. And you got to hand it to them. As much as there's a lot that went wrong, and I know Coach is going to be saying that in the room. They're going to go over a lot of film and say, the turnovers are one big thing. We can talk about this. That last play, I was just talking with Mike Daly, and there's 6 seconds left, and they throw the ball across the middle. They're at 40-yard line. Don't touch them. Let him run. There's 2 seconds. He's not going to go into the end zone. But having said that, being a defensive-minded guy, you want to come up, make the smack. But it's also,
what if he took one more step and took a slide, and then there's 1 second left,
would he have known?
He would have made that field,
exactly.
maybe.
What if? Yeah, it's what ifs. But I'm saying, like, little things like that. We did that, and that's another story. But it's just one of those things that you look at now as, what if that happened? What if as a defensive guy, I would have probably went up and made that tackle because you want to make sure they kick a long field goal. But it's fun to talk about.
Yeah. You talked about a minute and a half left. I mean, when we had that turnover on the goal line, you see some fans like leaving, and you're thinking, geez, haven't you been watching the CFL this year? Like, this is the game's just starting, and of course we go down and score, and then they almost could score. It's like, holy cow, what's going on here? But what did you guys think about that decision to go for one after that touchdown?
Well, I at first I was kind of like, okay, well, keep it out of the 1 point game, right? Don't let them get that rouge, or rouge might be a little easier to get. But then you start looking at how long they have to go, and you brought up a good point where can they really punt it further than they can take a field goal, right? So when you look at it, it's like, yeah, maybe you do go for that 2 point to try to at least make it a 3 point game, so that if they do come down and make a good kick, because I was close, make a good kick, you can get into overtime, try to squeeze one out, right? And that rouge is still tough to get from that distance. So thinking about it now and having a conversation with you, Andy, it's definitely one that you'd want to look at, and I'd be curious to hear Coach O's answer on it. But you look at it, once you're done the game and say, well, maybe we should go for two in those situations.
You can ask him.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
I don't want to be the one asking
him.
My opinion on that, I thought for sure they'd go for two. Like, no, not even a thing. But at the same time, they were down there 4 times, and they couldn't score 4 times. So maybe back of their heads, hey, we're on the 5. We haven't scored. We haven't punched it in. We've had an interception. We've lost it down on it. Maybe that had something to do with it. You can ask him, Daly, right there.
No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, but the difference in yardage between a 1 point attempt, like say you wanted to punt it from the 55 versus field goal from the 50, I think that's so negligible. Because if you go for 2 and you don't get it, then they still have to score a 1 just to go to overtime. Yeah. A 3 wins you the game no matter what. If you don't get if you go for 2 and you don't get it, a field goal wins them the game. If you go for 1 and you get it, a field goal wins them the game. So that regardless, that's the same. And in this case, like, you're still going into overtime with that rouge. So to me, I don't know, but I don't get paid to make those decisions.
We do know that outside of the Tiger Cats audio network, that Andy has a business that's got a lot to do with math. So this is where this is all coming in right now, I believe.
And analytics. Yeah.
I might need to put a little more work in there after Coach O listens to this post-game show and kicks me off the panel.
Yeah. We rarely say this in this situation. I know special teams. We talk about offense and defense, but folks, before we do get to this question here, and I'll throw this question to Coach, but it is our exclusive access to the coaching room. Time to check in with Coach O, as presented by Access Storage. Coach O, Bubba O'Neil with you here. I know for a lot of this early part of the season, we were talking about how the Tiger Cats were finding ways to lose games. Nice to be on the other side of that equation, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It's a division game. It's always important when you're able to win those. So, yeah, we're definitely excited with this one.
Coach, what areas are you happy with coming out of the bye week, and what areas were you a little disappointed at first glance in live action?
Well, I like the way we moved the football. I didn't like how we turned it over. I thought we responded with some takeaways. I thought we took a couple of penalties that we didn't need to take, and those type of things were a little disappointing. But it never goes the way that you think it's going to go all the time. So extremely proud of this football team, the way they battled.
Coach, I'll admit it. I was questioning the call to go for two or not go for two there, and I just want you to walk us through. What the thought process was at the end of the game.
Well, they've got probably the best punter in the league, and we didn't want to let them just punt for a single. We know that with the kickoff move back, so that was basically the decision right there.
Okay.
Yeah, Coach, Mike here. I've been very impressed with Lawrence Wood's special teams play and his return, especially the return teams. What kind of spark does that give you guys? Because especially at that end of the game, I know it didn't result in a touchdown, but what kind of spark does that give you when you see him keep popping off these returns like that and being able to put you guys in position?
Well, it's momentum. Field position usually plus momentum equals points. That's how I could sum that up. So anytime you can do that, it's a credit. He's running hard. He's fearless. Guys are blocking their tail off, and it's nice to get rewarded.
Yeah, Coach, it's Hitch here, and great game.
Thanks, buddy.
These guys just took all my questions. I wanted to ask you all the hard ones, but just congratulations. You got one under your belt. We're looking forward to the next one. I know you guys are going to be hard on that film and trying to get those turnovers turned over the other way. So,
that's right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Hitch.
One more for you there, Coach. Dane Evans, he has the fumble late in the fourth quarter there. You put Schultz in there to run the next series, but then you go back to Dane, and he leads you in there for the winning touchdown. Just a little bit on that mindset.
Well, we just kind of we needed to change it up, right? We just needed to settle down and take a look at things. Obviously, the drive that we led with Matthew there ended in an interception. And we just thought that Dane had been there a few more times, understands our offense just a little bit better, and kind of deserved the opportunity to go back in the game, and he did a hell of a job.
Coach, thanks for joining us here. Thank you. And again, I guess not a lot of practice time for your next one, your Thursday game in BC, but enjoy the victory. Hard-earned and certainly well-earned, I would say, as well, too. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That's exclusive access to the coaching room. It is Coach O as presented by Access Storage. And, boy, Mr. Fantuz, you like to ask the tough questions.
Well, I mean, you just gotta man up. I always think if you're gonna say anything on here, you got to be willing to say it to someone's face. So it's just a respectful thing, right? You don't want to.
And the response was hey, just like that.
Yeah,
hey, he's a great punter. He's one of the best punters in the league, and that was our decision.
Can't argue that.
Yeah,
Can't argue that. There you go.
Not a lot of time to enjoy this victory, guys. I guess they might get one practice in before they got to travel out to Vancouver and play. Arguably one of the most exciting quarterbacks we've seen in some time, Rob.
Yeah, that first game with 59 points he put up, I said, okay, I'm going to be watching the next BC game. I don't care if it's on at 10 o'clock. But, yeah, very exciting. Nice to see that Canadian quarterback doing so well.
He's had two performer of the week games so far this season. So, but I think we have Tim White here in the locker room joining us, presented by Access Storage. What's up, Timmy?
How's it going?
Great, man. Great. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling pretty good after a win.
That was you made some clutch catches all game long, and it capped off with that winning touchdown. How does it feel to finally get a W in a close one?
It feels good. It feels great doing it at home too. Obviously, we're a team that has faced adversity, and being able to close out on a win and seeing our defense going out there to get the last stop, it felt great.
You weren't the only one making some great catches. I mean, can you talk about that catch by Steven Dunbar?
Man, as soon as he made that catch, I went to him. I said, that was probably the greatest catch I've ever seen in person. That was a phenomenal catch, man. Two guys on him, and he just went up there with one hand like an all-star and just bring it in.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah, Tim, Mike Daly here. Listen, Tim, awesome win to get that pulled out at home. But listen, tell me about the mindset of, you guys on offense and being able to, trust Dane to come in at the end of the game, especially with kind of the adversity he faced, and be able to pull that out. What's that mean to see a leader like that do that, and then what kind of boost does that give you guys as a receiving corps?
Yeah, number one, man, I love you, Mike. I love you, Mike. It was great, seeing them put him back out there, man, and seeing him just march onto the field. It was just a different type of energy. It takes some guts, some serious guts to be able to come out here and, you face adversity, turning the ball over throughout the week, but being able to just come back in the game and then lead us on the last drive. BA, he made a great catch, to keep the drive going, and we just found a way to put it in there, man. It felt great. It looked great seeing Dane out there, man, and I my hats are off to him because it just shows how much of a leader he is, and proud of that guy.
Hey Timmy, how much rosin is Lawrence Woods gonna get after being hunted down on that punt return?
He might be a little frustrated because I've been telling him all week. I swear I'll walk you down if you get to the open field if I was on kickoff or punt. I'm telling you, I'll walk you down. But he's probably hurt. You
got to give it to him.
Hurt about it.
You got to give it to him, man. It's a lesson he won't forget, and he won't make that mistake again. But I think I saw him doing a backflip at the end of the game. So even though he was kind of pulled off twice for an injury, might have just been his feelings, right? Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know, but man, I wish he would have got it in the end zone.
Tim, can you believe it's the old retired guys that's ripping him?
No, seriously, man. Like, what? No.
Yeah, the slowest guy on the team.
Hey, one last one there for you, Tim. Anthony Johnson, you know what? Again, you talk about coming back from adversity. He makes that big reception in the first quarter, fumbles the football on really what was a good hit, but then comes back and gets a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, as soon as he made that play and then fumbled the ball, I went to him and I said, you know what that means, right? You're probably going to have a big game. So him being able to get a touchdown after that shows that he's able to rise up to the challenge. Not a lot of young guys are able to do that. So obviously he has some dog in him. We know what he can do and we know what he's capable of. So it's just a learning experience for him. And, I'm sure he's looking to build off of that.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I'm sure you'll enjoy the big flight going back out to the West Coast. It's BC.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to that. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Ticats post-game show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Folks, that's Tim White, 6 receptions, 70 yards, and his interview is presented by Access Storage. Guys, let's go back to where we were talking about before Tim joined us there. The ability of this team now to enjoy the victory and then turn around and maybe get one practice. And then you got to take a flight. I mean, you guys have all experienced that. And generally, going out to BC Place is a bit of a trap for teams.
It's a tough place to go play because you're always playing 7 p.m. local time is 10 p.m. here. I mean, you only have that one day to sort of adjust to jet lag. I think they're going to get 2 practices, I would assume. You're going to practice Monday and Tuesday, fly out Wednesday. But it's always tough. But that's the CFL. There's no excuses in that. And, I think there's places that Hamilton's had worse records in the past decade or two, like Calgary. And
not when I played.
No?
We didn't win there for 8-10 years, I think it was.
In BC?
And finally, when Ronnie Lancaster came in and said, we're going 2 days early.
Yeah.
We're flying out 2 days because we can't handle it. Like 7 o'clock, like you said, Andy, 10 o'clock game, you're playing at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we got a little used to it. We flew out 2 days before, and we ended up practicing out there twice. So it helped. We did win. So.
Well, and the toughest part, too, is especially on a short week going to BC, you don't get as much time to rest. And that's the biggest point is, you're not really feeling fresh until maybe after that first day of practice in pads or, maybe moving into that second. But now you're hitting a flight and you're sitting on that flight for a long time and then the time change. And, with that short week, those little aches and bruises and stuff like that, they don't really heal up.
You guys got it made because when Don Southern was our head coach, we would be in pads for 3 days up until the war, right till the day before we'd be in pads. And it'd be like, really, it would be a short week. We'd play Toronto and then we play them again on the Friday or the Saturday on Labor Day. And we'd be in pads all week. It's like, really? Come on. But it was, that's what it is. I mean, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fresh, especially, if they had the loss there, it would be a completely different trip. Now they've got the momentum. They're happy. They're excited. Now they know what to do, and I think they're going to see some positive things from them.
Another thing people might not realize is that these guys practice at 9. They start at 9 a.m. They're on the field at about 10 o'clock, 10:15 a.m. every day. So their bodies their biorhythm or whatever you want to call it, they're used to getting ready to perform at that time in the morning. And you're talking a 12-hour difference. You're waking up still at the same time. You don't just magically sleep in because you're in BC. You still wake up early, and then so it's even early. It's even earlier. You're waking up at like 4 a.m. probably because it's like 7 a.m. here, and then you got on all day. And if you're not able to like take a nap or something, that's a long day. So it's challenging on the body.
And especially with when these games are coming down to the fourth quarter, the last minute. You know what I mean? And you're doing that at 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m.
Well, as Andy said, the biorhythm. It's pretty good.
Right?
It can't be right, is it?
Hey, you know what? Sounded right, so I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Right.
Something stuck there. I'm like, I got to say it. I love it.
Guys, I mean, we kind of lightly touched a little bit about the Nathan Rourke, the young Canadian quarterback that I think everyone is so impressed with. It's a different type of quarterback. I mean, again, young quarterback like what we've seen with the likes of Caleb Evans and Trey Ford before that. But this is a whole different ball game and a different type of offense that, Mike, you're going to have to really prepare for in a hurry.
Yeah, and I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders over in BC, right? I know they just had that loss recently, but before that, I mean, they were looking like world beaters, right? So, I mean, you know, they're a good offense, they're a good team altogether, but Nathan can, you know, he can kind of do it both. He's shown it with his arms, shown it with his legs, and that's tough to deal with when you're trying to deal with somebody that can, you know, really put the ball in the spot they want to and be able to run whenever they want. I mean, it changes up your entire game plan. And that's going to be, you know, their challenge on this short week to try to figure out how they're going to do that. But, you know, like you said, Hitch, I mean, getting this win, getting the momentum, it's just going to give those guys a little bit of a jolt to get into there, right?
Yeah, I agree exactly. But I think you can't go pin your ears back on the defensive ends and go at him, because he's got that versatility where he can spin out, and then when they do that and you lose contain, that's a quarterback that could kill you. And I remember seeing the first game, and at the end of it, I think Glenn Suter was doing, and he says, you know, it reminds me a little bit about Flutie. And then someone said Doug Flutie, and they're like, wait a minute, timeout. You can't put him in the same category. But you know, I played against Doug for a lot of years, and he's got the same mannerisms, not as, you know, as agile, I don't think yet, but he's young, and he's just so positive right now, and it's real fun to watch, and I'm glad it's happening.
And what impresses me when you really break it down, I mean, the 5-step drop, the 7-step drop, the looking off the safeties, and like, I mean, he's so poised for a guy that's in his second year. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, BC is a strong team. They have a lot of weapons on offense and defense is strong, especially linebackers and defensive backs. So it's going to be a challenging game, but I think it's one that comes at an appropriate time. This Ticat football, if the Ticats are playing Ticat football, they can beat anybody. And for me, it's not even that close. I mean, this is a talented team. They just need to put it together, and this is a great challenge coming off a win when you have 6 more East teams to go leading up to Labor Day, 6 in a row after BC. So huge stretch ahead of us, and this comes at a good time.
One last thing here before we check out and we run out of time here on the post-game show. Dane Evans, where is his head at right now?
Oh, geez. I mean, he's got to be in his own head with these fumbles. Like, you could see how frustrated he's rolling around. It looked like he was hurt out there when he fumbled that. And he sort of spun and hit his own player, and it was one of those fluky fumbles. Yet, when it's the whatever won the season, 5th or 6th won the season, I mean, especially right on your own goal line, it's just he's got to be in his own head. It's been
that kind of a consistent theme for him the last couple of weeks, and we talked about it. Mike and I talked about it, and I get it. He's a competitor. His drive is like no one else, and he's trying to make those plays, and you just got to go down. Like, that's one of those things.
Still an amazing game though.
Yeah, awesome.
Rob Hitchcock. Hold on a second. Hello?
Still there.
Oh, sorry, thought you dropped out there. Sorry. It's Daly and Hitch and Fantuz here joining us here on the post-game show. Thank you so much for listening. Tiger Cats 25, Redblacks 23. Hey, folks, we're going to be back on Thursday for the Tiger Cats pregame as presented by Journey Rewards as the Tiger Cats head out to Vancouver for a game with the Lions. That's Thursday, July 21st on the Tiger Cats Audio Network. Join us, please.